Hello, beautiful people. Wayne Hackman here, aka Whackstar. And it is my second video diary of my 1,000 kilometer solar challenge or solar motorbike challenge. I have made it to Liakipia. The bike has not, but I will explain that story to you a little bit later on. If you have, sorry, I keep going out of focus here. Let's switch, start focus. There we go. That's better. So, yes, I made it to Liakipia. The motorbike hasn't, but there's a very good reason behind it. And my plan is, as always, through these sessions, to just share a little bit about my day. I want to use this as an opportunity to capture the video diary of the day so that I've got a record. I can go back and I can watch this and just recall the things that I've been up to. But also it gives me an opportunity to engage with the audience. And if you are logged in, please do send me a chat. I'm happy to answer any questions. I very much appreciate that. And I will keep looking at the super chat or the chat down here and take an opportunity just to answer any questions that I would have. So what's happened today? Well, we started off in Marigat, and the motorbike was absolutely fantastic. We set out about 8 o'clock this morning. Had hoped to make it to Rumaruti around midday or early midday, and then top up the bike batteries and carry on up to Liakipia, where we are today. But things didn't go quite to plan. The route that I had chosen using Tracks for Africa and a few other, even Google Maps, suggested that we were able to go from Marigat to Rumaruti, and we were able to go along the lake and then cut across. And so as we set out, it was a brilliant start to this beautiful road going through part of Kenya that most people wouldn't travel through. Actually, every turn there was a sort of cattle and goats being herded, and really beautiful. And actually, amazingly, the biggest tortoise I've ever seen in Kenya. Lots of wildlife running across the road. We even stopped, have to take a tortoise out of the road and put it to one side. And then we arrived at, there's a little conservancy there. It's a local government conservancy. So all the money that you pay at the gate goes towards the local community. So we were obviously very happy to pay for that. And the guy said, yeah, you can get to Rumaruti this way. And off we went. Now, I should have realized something was going wrong when we got to the lake, and the river that we were, the road rather, that we were going to use was completely submerged. And so then decided at that point we needed to take a detour. And so we started taking a detour, and the GPS, so I'm using this Garmin InReach here, said, oh, you're off track. And I thought we would come round or back onto the track that we were missing. But actually, we headed a lot further south than we had hoped, and ended up halfway back to Nakuru. And this was a real problem because I started burning up quite a lot of electricity on the motorbike. Of course, I had calculated that the motorbike had enough range to get us to where we're staying at the moment. But I noticed things weren't going quite so well when we were going through quite a hilly section, and the bike pretty much came to a standstill. And I thought, well, this is crazy. There's 40% battery here, and I had to get off the motorbike and sort of ease it up. And so I've learned something about the lithium-ion batteries. When they get hot, they lose performance, and then that then translates to the much less torque going into the battery. And so this was concerning, as I then swapped over to the other battery, and we were taught we had plenty of power and we got through the part. But this became a recurrent problem on the journey, that I went over some quite hilly escarpments, and the bike really struggled. Actually, it was quite embarrassing. At one point, I had to get off the bike, and I was able to throttle the bike whilst pushing it. And that, between my pushing force and the torque that was on the bike, I was able to get it up to the hill and then go back down. There was another really embarrassing moment where the bike, I think we were going up inclines like this, kind of stopped, and then these kids came out and started pushing me. So I learnt a lot about battery management today. The Rome batteries, I think once we get below 40%, I started to get that horrible feeling in my heart of going, oh my goodness, I'm not too sure if we're going to make this. And I was sort of thinking about it later on the journey. Perhaps that's the first time I've ever experienced range anxiety with electric motorbike. Frank, I see you here. Good to see you, buddy. Much appreciated. Thanks for saying hi on the chat. Really, really pleased to see you. Blessings to you, mate. I'm just pontificating. I'm just speaking about my journey today, about how when the batteries got below 40%, they didn't put the power down to the back wheel as I had hoped, and they really struggled on some of the dirt tracks. And we were on gravel. We were some really tough roads today, really tough roads. I knew it would be difficult, but I didn't realize quite how tough the roads would be. So this set the whole schedule back quite a lot. And so, we didn't even get anywhere near to Nahururu. We had been redirected back up to Nahururu and then to Rumaruti and then back up here. And it must have added an extra sort of 70 kilometers to the journey. And so the bike did, I think, and I need to look through the tracks, although my GPS for some reason has decided to reset itself. I think on the batteries that I had, I did about 140 kilometers, and then we did a top-up charge on one of the batteries. And there was this funny moment where one thing we noticed about the Picky can go much quicker over rough roads than the car, and I was just steaming ahead on a lot of these rough roads. There was a point where I stopped at a junction just before the tarmac. I thought, well, I better wait for the support driver to come up, and I was there for about 40 minutes. And that's another really quite interesting thing today. Obviously, me being a Mzungu, a white guy, particularly out of the sticks, that does draw a bit of attention to me. Having lived in Kenya for 12 years, I'm kind of used to that. But the electric bike was really interesting. It really drew some crowds. So the first place I stopped, there's about 20 guys started looking at it, and they were asking questions, and they couldn't believe that it was run by electricity, and couldn't believe what we're doing. And actually, I think if Rome was to set up a shop along the route that I went today, I suspect that they would probably get quite a lot of get a lot of sales. I see, Frank, you've written, sorry for the struggle, mate. Honestly, the struggle was good. I learned a lot today. And actually, it's kind of teaching me a lot about electric motorbikes. This bike skipped over a lot of the tough terrain that I was on, and it was really great. It was just literally the big inclines that it really struggled with. Now, tomorrow is all downhill, so I don't think we'll have any trouble with this. But the battery range became a real problem, and we got to Nahururu, and we stayed at a place called Thompson Falls. Well, didn't stay. We stopped at a place called Thompson Falls, and I had one battery was down to 8%, and the other battery was down to 12%. and they were crawling. The bike was crawling along. Actually, it was really funny because I was at one point just doing 15 kilometers an hour along the road, and there were a couple of schoolgirls who had just literally come out of school or whatever, and they just started wetting themselves laughing at me. Yeah, my bike is when it's going slow, it's not a babe magnet. I thought it was quite funny that I was able to bring some amusement to some of the people that we were passing. So when we got to Thompson Fort, there was a big sigh of relief, and I thought, oh great, well we'll just spend a couple of hours here, and we'll charge the motorbike up enough so that we are able then to get to our friends. But this is where the second big issue of today happened. So plugged one battery in, started charging fine. The second battery, plugged it in, and it would refuse to take any charge. And I thought, if this battery dies, the ride is done. There is no way that this is going to work. And so I was stressing my health. Frank, I see that you've asked me the question about, do I have any support? Yes, I do. I have a guy called Ryan with me. I call him the support South African. He doesn't really want to be featured on the social media, so that he's bringing the solar boxes in a car. He's just driving along with me. So yeah, I do have a support car with me, and interestingly, the Picky is much better over the rough roads than he's got an old Parado, and very, very interesting that actually on the rough roads I am much quicker than him. But of course, once we get to the tarmac roads, he's not that much faster than me. The best today, I think my fastest I hit today was 80 kilometers an hour. Admittedly, this is another cool thing. So once I managed to climb this big escarpment, which I was really worried about doing, there was this beautiful long road down, and it does have regenerative braking. And I remember looking at the battery percentage on my bike and seeing that there is the regenerative braking going on, and this was about 5-10 kilometers downhill, and I saw the 52% creep up to 53%. So actually, the regenerative braking does actually work on the bike, which was great because I needed it later for a really big hill climb. To cut a long story short, I limped into Thompson Falls and plugged the batteries in, and then just the other battery just would not charge. I actually phoned up Rome technical support and saying, what's going on here? And my eyesight, short-sighted, I have to wear reading glasses, and I didn't have my reading glasses onto me. And she said, can you look at the warning? And it said there was an error and then temperature. And so the bike battery had overheated, and that was the battery that I was using to climb the hill. So it obviously was working really, really hard, and I was going slowly. So the battery wasn't getting cooled with air flowing over it. So then and I was going, oh my goodness, have I fried? Have I killed a battery? This is going to destroy the whole ride. But they said, no, the Rome support said, no, it's okay, just let it cool down. And so later on that day we plugged it in and it was fine. But we had to make the decision at Thompson that either we wait there for one battery to be full and potentially not have enough range to get to where we're staying this evening, and this is where I feel a bit disappointed. I negotiated with the guy at Thompson Falls that I could leave the bike there, so he locked it away for me. And so we got in the car, and this answers the question about the support driver you have. And we've driven here, and we got here about 6:30 in the end. And by the time we got here, so I started trying to charge it we must have got to Nauru about 4:35. and it was refusing to charge there. But by the time we got it here, I just plugged it in and it worked, and it's charging. So it was a heat issue, an overheating issue, which is good. So we've obviously come a bit too late now, because this place that we're staying they've got 20 kilowatts of solar here, but they want me to charge tomorrow morning when the sun is up, understandably. So we're not going to deplete their battery reserve tonight. So we will have a later start tomorrow. And there's two things that we need to do tomorrow. We need to give away one of these boxes. The person that we had lined up to give the second box to, I can't get hold of. So I really want to give a box away tomorrow. So I need to talk to Luke, who is one of the hosts here. Which means we have an extra box that we need to find to give away, which I'm sure we will. But here, just being in this place, one of the reasons why I was quite excited coming here. This is I've known these guys for years, and they've set up a farm up here in Liakipia, and they are completely off grid. And I really like the idea that they have built a sort of farmhouse, a farm area. They're running this farm completely off grid. They have no KPLC supply here, but yet they're living in this home. It's comfortable. They've got all the light that they need, and it's fantastic. So we're going to have a little look tomorrow and have a look around this estate here and see what they've done here. And we're going to have a later leave tomorrow after we've hopefully given away one of these boxes, and then we will head down. Drive back down to where the motorbike is. We'll charge the batteries tomorrow morning, get them up to 100%. And then the ride is from Nahururu down to Naivasha, all the way downhill. So we should be able to do that without too much problem. And so, yeah, it's been a real adventure today, and it's been a roller coaster of emotions. Absolutely, the battery failing or overheating. I honestly thought, that's it, the ride is done. We're going to have to pack up and go home. The fact that the motorbike, when the percentage goes low, going up inclines like this, it struggles. And like I said, I had to get off once to push this bike up the hill. So I'm going to be sore across the back of my shoulders tomorrow. And then the amusing moment where I slowed right down and these kids came and pushed me, which was quite amusing. And then I was so far ahead at one point where I stopped at a Nyamachoma place and persuaded the lady there to let me charge my bike. And I paid her a little bit of money for electricity and had Nyamachoma and waited for Ryan to pick up. It's been a good challenge today. I've learnt a lot about the motorbike, and battery technology. I think that I can see why that's the one thing that lets down electric vehicles at the moment. And the batteries were right at the edge of their limit today. Tomorrow is all tarmac, so and all downhill. I don't think I'm going to have any trouble tomorrow, although I always knew today the roads were going to be rough. The river hadn't have been the road hadn't have been flooded, the lake, we would have made it here. I'm convinced of that. I'm disappointed that we've left the motorbike an hour's drive away, but do you know what, Frank? You're very welcome to join me. I don't know where you live in Kenya. Tomorrow we're heading from Nahururu down to Naivasha. So if you live on that route, you're welcome to ride with me if you want to. And then the next day we go from Naivasha to Norok. And then the day after that, this is where the road gets rough again. Norok down to the Loiter Hills. That bit's worrying me because we're going to another place where there is solar, and we would have to do solar charging and everything like that down there. So yeah, I tell you what, it's been a roller coaster of emotions today. Very grateful for the hospitality of my friends here today. We're in this beautiful place. I mean, we arrived at sunset, so we haven't seen much of it. So we'll have a look around tomorrow when I eventually edit together all the films, which I'll release sometime over Christmas. You'll get to see a lot of what I've been doing. I almost forgot to mention, I had my first off today. And not my first off ever on a motorbike, but I made the fatal mistake of riding on gravel roads or gravel rocky roads, and then suddenly think, oh my goodness, is my sunglasses case in my pocket? And I looked down to check for my sunglasses, and I was riding along, and the bike drifted off. I clipped a rock. I was only going about 15 kilometers out, and the bike went down today. So I had my first off on the journey, hopefully the last off. But if my next off is like that, that was fine. I was unhurt, and the bike was undamaged. It was heavy to get back up because it's quite loaded. But that's what you call. That was another moment. For mine is a distance. I live in Mogori, a village called Nitamura. I'll have a look on the map, see if we're going anywhere near those. I'm not quite sure where they are, but if I do go there, I will certainly do. I'll let you know, Frank. But hopefully, me giving my video diaries every night will give you an exciting glimpse of what we're doing. So anyway, it's 23 minutes past 9. I've been yabbering around my journey today. Unless I see that there are 2 or 3 people watching tonight. So Frank, you're not alone tonight. There's 2 other people watching. So if we exponentially grow, tomorrow maybe we'll have 6, and then the day after, and by the time we finish the road, maybe we'll have hundreds of people on here. If you are watching this again to find out what I was doing, why am I doing this? I'm doing a solar 1,000 kilometers on an electric motorbike just to raise the awareness of electrical poverty in Kenya, and the fact that actually we're going to deliver some electrical boxes to people who have no access to electricity. And actually the overall goal of sponsorship is to raise enough money to put a full solar system in a boarding school called Mango Tree School, which basically support young ladies who are orphaned or have been kicked out of home, have come from difficult background, and they live in Homer Bay in up on Lake Victoria, and their electrical connection is less than adequate for what they need. The kids often have to study without light. They live in their boarding houses in darkness because the KPLC is so unreliable. And so that's my ultimate goal, is to try and raise enough money to install solar for them and to give away a few more of these solar boxes to people who don't have or cannot afford access to KPLC. I was going tonight to do the thank you to all of the people that have donated, but it's been a bit rushed this evening. We just literally came from supper to here, so I'm going to do that tomorrow night. Hopefully, I'll have more time to be able to do the live stream. Tomorrow we're camping, so the live stream will be on a campsite through my Starlink. So that will be quite exciting. I'm going to try and stick to 9 o'clock tomorrow evening, so that helps people in the UK, South Africa, but also here in Kenya. It's not too late for me to share. So I think that's where I'm going to leave it this evening. My video diary for the day done. Thank you so much if you've got this far in the video, either like Frank, who is faithful, has stuck with me from the beginning. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate it. Or you're rewatching this as a result that it pops up on your stream. If you've lasted this long for my ramblings, I appreciate it. Thank you. Yes, Frank, it is super exciting, if not slightly daunting. I have learned lots today. But mate, I'm grateful for that one supporter out there. And if you're watching later, go and check. I'll put the link in the description of the GoFundMe. If you can't afford to support the challenge, rate, subscribe, share, all of that helps. And you can go and check out the Instagrams. I've been using my Meta Ray-Bans today, posting while I'm riding, which is quite good. So there's some interesting photographs on there. I'm on the old tickety talk, but I do post and ghost on that. Yeah, I think that's where I'm going to leave it. So bless you, Frank. Bless you if you're watching this. You are awesome. Thank you for coming this far in the journey with me. And tomorrow is another day. Let's see how the bike does. And I look forward to at least giving away one box tomorrow. Bye to all of the things that online people do. And I'm ending the stream now.